Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another video on Salesforce Bolt. In this video guys, this is going to be a crash course for Lightning Web Component from a developer's perspective. This course will be helpful for those who are planning to start their journey or who has just started the journey as Lightning Web Component developer or who want to learn Lightning Web Components but don't know how and where to start. So this course will be covering most of it using a live project. So yes, we'll be building a live project during this demo, which will help you to understand its most of the functionalities. So without further delay, I'll start it. So guys, in this video, you will be learning about Lightning Web Component. We'll start with introduction of Lightning Web Component. Then there are some prerequisites needed to understand Lightning Web Components. Then I'll show you how you can create a Lightning Web Component. I'll give you information about Lightning Design System, what developer tools you need to build these components. Then we will learn what is data binding. I'll show you conditional rendering, how you can use CSS in it, Lightning Web Components, composition, how you can include your component, a child component into parent component and a grandparent component. It will also contain access to Salesforce resources, how you can access different Salesforce resources using the Lightning Web Component. It will be including lifecycle hooks of it, events, communication, Apex via an imperative method, and how you can use it in Salesforce targets. I'll show you how you can display notifications in Lightning Web Components, how you can use refresh Apex to refresh your page with the latest data, how you can debug a Lightning Web Component, and we'll be having a live demo as well for a specific application. Learning by doing. The best way of learning about anything is by doing. So in this video, we'll follow the same approach. We'll create a mini application using Lightning Web Component while learning about it, and in that application, I'll show you how you can utilize different functionalities introduced in Lightning Web Components. So this is going to be the application what we'll be creating as part of this video. This is going to be a to-do manager, and as part of this to-do manager, we'll be creating multiple components. We'll be doing composition, data binding, server-side callouts, conditional rendering, and a lot of more things. And also I'll show you how you can use your Lightning Web Component in different Salesforce targets like quick action, Lightning app page, record page, and utility bar as well. We'll start with the introduction. So tell me one thing, when you listen to the word Lightning Web Component or LWC, what comes to your mind? I had a few thoughts when I first heard about it. So my first thought was, is it lightning fast? Is it related to web technology because it contains web components? And is it upgraded version of Aura component? If you're also having same thoughts, then let me tell you, yes, you're right. Lightning Web Component is a new programming model for building Lightning components. It leveraged the web standard breakthrough of the last 7 years and can coexist with the original Aura programming model, and it will deliver unparalleled performance. Now you can build Lightning Web Components using two programming models. So first is the LWC Lightning Web Component V1 and the original model which was Aura component. So these two models you can use while building Lightning components now. Lightning Web Components are basically custom HTML elements built using HTML and modern JavaScript. Lightning Web Component and Aura components can coexist on a single page. So if you have a feeling like, are we going to skip the Aura component? So let me tell you, no, it's not going to happen. You will be using it together. But as per Salesforce best practices, you should only use Aura component until there's a functionality limitation that can be handled using Aura components only. For all other cases, you need to run Lightning Web Component. You need to use Lightning Web Components. So basically, to get started as a Lightning Web Component, you need to have at least basic knowledge in HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. If you have basic knowledge in these three things, then you're good to start with Lightning Web Components. And also we'll be learning about why we should be using Lightning Web Component. So with the power of latest web stack, Lightning Web Component comes with many different advantages over Aura Component. And these advantages are better performance, modern web standards, compatible with Aura components, faster loading sites, better security, better testing, and better browser capabilities. And also ease of development. As I told you, in Lightning Web Component, we'll be just using most of the time HTML and JavaScript only. Whenever you need to add some specific styles in your component, you can use CSS as well. So these are the three things you need to get started with a Lightning Web Component. And as I told you already, Lightning Web Components are using the latest web standard. If you don't know about web standards, so let me just tell you, web standards are a kind of a collection of tools that needed to build a web application. So that's why Lightning Web Components are much faster as compared to Aura, using modern things. And of course, I mean, it will be having a faster loading speed also while you are building up anything. There are some prerequisites you need to have before starting this journey with Lightning Web Components. So first, you have to make sure you are having a command line interface. For that, you can use Salesforce CLI. You need to install Salesforce CLI first. Another thing, you need one IDE to build these components. My preference would be Visual Studio Code. So you need to install Visual Studio Code as well. Another thing, in Visual Studio Code, you need Salesforce extension pack. It is basically collection of some useful extension by Salesforce, which will help you to build these components. And at the end, there's a quick trail available over Trailhead, which is a quick start Lightning Web Component, which will show you how you can set up your VS Code, how you can install the Salesforce extension pack, and all these things. I'll share this link also in the description of this video. Okay, so before starting this journey, make sure you are having all these prerequisites with you. Okay, now I'll start with this thing. So today, guys, we'll be creating an application. The application is going to be the to-do manager, where we'll be creating a to-do task for like as a daily task, and we'll be able to mark them complete, and we'll be displaying different lists which will be having different values. So for that, first let me move to my VS Code. Okay, so this is my Visual Studio Code, guys. So to start with VS Code, first you need to create a new project. To create a new project, you can simply press Command Shift P, and if you are using Windows, you can press Control Shift P, and you can create a new project with Manifest. Let's use standard template and let's enter a name. So let me enter LWC Crash Course. Okay, now you need to create a new folder for that. So I'll create a new folder. LWC Crash Course is my folder name as well. Okay, this is empty folder, create project. Okay, now you can see we have created an empty project here. Now to build Lightning Web Component, there are two environments you can use. Either you can go for Scratch.org or you can use your developer environment as well. So to choose between these two, so let's say whenever you're testing a functionality for temporary purpose, you can use a Scratch.org, because Scratch.org is having expiry with its org. So the maximum time you can use a Scratch.org is 30 days. But if you need to store some functionality for a longer period of time, so in that case you can use developer.org. So in this video, guys, I'll be using Scratch.org to do that. Okay, after creating a new project, you need to authorize your developer hub. So for that, you can press Command Shift P, and you can use authorizer dev hub. Let's give it a name. Okay, now here I will open my developer org here. And it is authorized now. Now you need to make sure to enable the dev hub in your org as well. So for that, what you can do is in setup, you can quickly go in dev hub, and enable it. And once it is enabled, it can't be disabled again. By enabling it, you are giving this org access to create multiple scratch orgs. Okay. Now after enabling it, you need to go back to your project and you need to use this command, create a default scratch org. Let's use default definition. Let's give it a name and I'll make it valid for 30 days. So this org creation process might take a couple of minutes. So I'll quickly forward this process and show you the output of it. Alright guys, my scratch org has been successfully created, and to open your scratch org you can simply use the command open default org, which will open the default scratch org of the StavHub. So I have already opened my org. Here you can see this is a complete empty new org we are having here, right? Okay. So to start the development guys, let's create one application first. So to create an application, we'll go to App Manager and we will search for App Manager here. Okay, now we'll create new Lightning application. Let's name it To-Do Manager. Let's not upload any image. This is fine. Hit next. Utility item, we can add a utility bar here if needed. So right now we don't have any item, so we won't be adding it. So we'll click next. Available item empty. Available profile will provide access for system admin. Okay, so the new app has been created. This is my new application. I will quickly edit it and add a page here. I'll go to pages, new page. I will add an app page here. To-do manager. And here I will be selecting one region full screen layout. So I can have my different components on the same layout. I'll save it and activate it. Okay, so my custom application is ready now. Now from this setup, if I will search for to do, here it is. Here's my custom application. So basically on this application, we'll be having our components. Okay. Now I'll go to my VS Code and let me show you how you can create your first Lightning Web component. To create your component, you need to press Command Shift P. If you are on Window, it is going to be Control Shift P. And you can create a Lightning Web component. Let's name it create task default directory. So this is the empty component what we are having here. It is having a JavaScript file, HTML file and a meta file. So HTML file will use it basically for design, JavaScript for client side functionality, and this meta file will decide the visibility and the Salesforce areas this components can access. Okay, so for example, I'll make the visibility true so it can be visible on other pages. Okay, now let's start with the HTML file. So before starting with HTML, let me show you Lightning Design System. So for that you can search for Lightning Design System over Google. This is the Lightning Design System. And another thing is developer library. So these two are going to be your Bibles when you are working on Lightning Web Component. If you're good enough to remember everything, then congratulations. But if you're like me who can't remember all the code, all the designs, then these two are going to be the source of truth for you. For example, let's say you need to add a lightning card here. So I can search for card. So these are the lightning cards example you will be having here with output, how it is going to look. So we'll search for card with custom title and footer, and this is going to be kind of a output for this. So you can simply copy it from here, paste it to your component, and your lightning web component is ready, which will be having a card. Now to display this component on the UI, you need to add the target here in this meta file. So to add the target as a lightning application, you can simply add targets here like this. So you can add targets, and here you can add your specific target, like and as you can see, there are multiple targets to add. Lightning web component can be added to these places like app page, home page, record page, utility, flow screen, tab index. It's a huge list. In this video, we'll cover a couple of them. So for now, I'll just add it to app page and deploy it. To deploy it, you can simply press Command Shift P and push source to org. Now as we have deployed it, then it will be available to use in this page. So for that, I will just edit this page. I'll do edit page here. And search for my component, which is create task. I will drag it here. See the output, no errors. Let's save it and go back. So this is my first component, what I have created here. Now let's modify the component as per our requirement. So first I will change it to create task. I don't need footer, I don't need body now. So I'll save it, push it to the org again. Okay, let's refresh this page. Awesome, we are good here. Now to create task, let's add task title, due date, and another thing we can add status of the task if it is pending or completed, right? So for that we need to add lightning inputs here. Again, I'll go to this library. I'll search for input. And here it is. So first I need a text input to add the title of the task, right? So for that, I can simply copy it from here like this. Go to my component, paste it here. I need this as well. Let's make it a task title. Okay, I will remove this additional comments. And here now I'll push it again. Okay, so this is my input. We don't need this additional heading, so I'll remove it. Now we will add another input, which is going to be a date. So for that, you can search for input date. So here, if you'll see, there are multiple options. So I will search for date here. Where is date? Time, date input. Here it is. Now using this date input, we'll be storing the due date of the task. Okay, so we'll keep the basic one, and I'll just copy it from here. Let's copy it, and we can paste it here. Let me paste it inside that parent div tag. Okay, as a label I will add due date, type date. Name is also very important for all these inputs so that you can identify it in your JavaScript in your controller. So here I will add due date, and here also I will give a name, task title. Okay, so we are having two inputs now. We need a button as well, right, to save the task. Let's check the output first. So it is saved. Go back to the org, hit refresh. Awesome, it is looking good. It is the date input. Okay, let's make it required as well. So whatever you are using in HTML, same thing you need to use here as well, because this is the HTML, right? So like for example, to make a field required, you can simply add required. I will add required here as well. Now these two fields will be required. Now let's add a button as well. Okay, so we'll go here, search for button, and this is the button. So there are multiple buttons to add. Here you can see multiple examples here. So from these we'll be using the success button. So let's see where it is. I will copy it from here. And we can simply paste it under this thing. We need a click as well, so let's the handle click be there. As a label, I will add save task. Variant success is fine. Let's upload it quickly. Okay, it is uploaded now. Now let me show you the output. Okay, we need some gap between this button, but overall the UI looks good. So to add the gap, we will just simply add the new line. This should be fine. Now let me show you how you can do data binding here. So UI is created to save new tasks, right? Now you need to bind this data so it can be passed to your server side callout, which is going to be Apex. So for data binding, you need to go to JavaScript, and here you can simply add parameters like task title and due date. And to bind it with your respective inputs, you can simply copy it from here, and it's here as place of value you can have it. So I can type value. You need to add it in the curly braces and then name of the parameter. The same will go for date, value, name of the parameter. Now by adding it here in curly braces, the values will be bound to these inputs. For example, let's add a task title value here. For example, I'll be just adding sample title. I'll save it and deploy it. And here if you will refresh, so you can see the sample title is here because the values are bound with these inputs now. Okay, now we need to store values in this parameters whenever we are typing there. Okay, so for that we'll need to add a on change event here. So you can create separate on change event on each input, but that is not suggested as per the best practice. If you are having multiple inputs, so in that case you can create a common on change event, and based on the input name or ID you can perform your actions accordingly. So in this case also I'll be just creating a common on change event. So I'll do on change, and handle on change. I will copy the same function in my next input as well. Okay, now we'll go to JavaScript. Here I will create a function. To create a function, you can simply type the name of that function, which is handle on change. Here it is. We'll pass the event parameter here. Now first we need to get the field name. To get the field name, you can simply do constant field name equals to event dot target dot name, which will return you basically the targeted input's name, as we are having unique name on each input, so it will return us unique name. Now if field name equals to task title, that means our first input is in action. So in that case, we can assign this task value, this dot task title. So to access the parameters in Lightning Web Component JavaScript control, you need to use this keyword specifically. So you need to do this dot task title equals to event dot target dot value. Okay, and also we'll add here else if condition. Field name is due date, then we'll do the same for due date. This dot due date equals to event dot target dot value. So now we have added the due date here and the task title value as well. So now if I will try to print this value, let's say I have added a console log here to have the task title, and for due date also you can add a console log. Now let me deploy it and show you the output quickly. It is deployed now. Let's refresh it. And as we have added console log, so it will be visible on the inspect element console. Okay, now if I will select a due date, you can see this dot due date is the due date what we have selected. Same goes for task title as well, as it is working on change, so that's why it is fetching each value and giving us the end result. So that's how you can do data binding basically in Lightning Web Component, and you can bind your JavaScript parameter with your HTML Lightning Web Component here. Okay, so as a next step, let me show you how you can do the conditional rendering in a Lightning Web Component. Okay, so for example, let's say you need to display this button when we are having values in text title and date both. Okay, or maybe when we are having value in title, let's display date, and when we are having value in date, let's display the button as well. Okay, so for that, first we will take some parameter here. So we will have show due date, default value let's give false, show save, default value false. Okay, now in your HTML file, what you can do is you can simply add template reference here. So here you can simply add template LWC if. So this is the same if else condition what you are using in any other programming language. Now those if else are available on this HTML as well. So we'll use HTML LWC if, and we'll bind the value of show due date. Okay, we'll have it here, and same will go for this as well. Template LWC if We'll bind the value of show save. Copy it from here, paste it here. This prettier extension is not working, otherwise it would have given you a more proper layout. I think I'm already having a quick fix for that. Let's see if it works. So basically prettier is an extension which will format your code, format your HTML and JavaScript in a specific manner so that it can follow all the best practices here as well. So we have added conditional rendering. Meanwhile, let me show you how this conditional rendering will be working. So for that, I will go to my org again, refresh it. Okay, we need to deploy it. I missed to deploy it. It is deployed now. Now we'll go to the org. I'll refresh it. And here you can see the due date and the save button is hidden now. Okay. Now we need to make them visible when this task title and due date value is not null basically, right? So for that, we'll go to our handle on chain function again. Let me remove these console logs. Okay, finally my prettier is working. Awesome. So here in the task title, I will add a quick check here. If this dot task title not equals to empty, then make this dot show due date equals to true, else make it false, this dot show due date equals to false. Same will do with due date as well. And here you can use the inline if condition as well. For example, this dot due date not equals to null. Okay, so this dot show save equals to true, else this dot show save equals to false. This is showing some linting errors, but I believe this should be good. So let me try to deploy it. Okay, it is deployed successfully. Let me refresh it. Now I will add the task title. Okay, it is not getting displayed. Let me try again. No, it is not getting displayed. We need to check what is wrong here. So this is the thing in JavaScript. In JavaScript, you won't be getting any syntax error or any other error if you have made a mistake. So that is the tough part of using this basically. So now we need to check what is wrong here, right? So for that, let's try to print this task title value first. So we are getting the task title. Okay, we did a spelling mistake here. So it was supposed to be show due date. And sorry guys, my bad. Now if I will type task title, so the due date is getting rendered conditionally basically. And if I'll enter due date, so this button is getting rendered conditionally. So that's how using LWC if, else if and else, you will be able to maintain the conditional rendering on your Lightning Web components. Okay. Now in your Lightning Web components, you can use the CSS as well. So to use the CSS the same way what you were using in your HTML in your old times, so the same way you can use here as well. So for that you can simply right click on the root folder, you can create a new file. The file name should be same, create task. The extension will be .css, right? Now let's just for the sake of this demo, I'm just adding a sample CSS. Otherwise, there are some other ways of adding CSS as well. You can use that as well. You can create a common utility CSS as well, which can be used in your overall project. But just for the sake of this demo, I'm just creating one CSS just to show you how it is going to be. So you can simply create a CSS like this. For example, I'm creating a CSS for opacity. And let's have it 0.7. Okay. Now this CSS I'll be using on my button. So this is my button which is having this class already. So I'll hit a space here, add my class as well and deploy it here. Okay, so it is deployed now. Now let me show you the output. Okay, date, and now you can see there's a little bit opacity, transparency over this button. So that's how you can add CSS in your Lightning Web components as well. All right. Now let me show you how the composition works in Lightning Web components and how you can add your child component in parent and your parent component in your grandparent component. So that is basically the Lightning Web component composition. But before that, let me show you a couple of examples, a couple of scenarios, what you will be using during this Lightning Web component composition and lifecycle hooks. Okay, so for that I will create a parent component of this child component. Okay, so let's add a parent component first. So I will create a new component. Let's name it to do manager. Okay, I'll put it in the default directory, and in this to do manager I'll be using my child component now. So this is my HTML, and here I will be using. So to use the child component, the way of using it is you can simply add C prefix here, C as in component, then hyphen, then your component name. If your component is having any camel cases there, any capital letters, then for each capital letter you need to put a hyphen before it. Okay, so for example, my component is having T as in capital in create task, so I will use create hyphen task. And I have added my child component to this parent now. Now let me quickly copy the meta.xml from my previous component to this one. Okay, I will deploy it. All right, it is deployed now. Now on my application, I won't be using this component directly. Instead of that, I will be using that parent component, because that parent component is going to have a couple of other components as well, because we'll be creating a component to display list of records as well. So that component will also be added in that parent component. So I'll remove it from here. I'll search for the parent, which is to do manager. Here it is. I'll save it. Okay, now this is the parent component which is having a child component. So we have basically composed child component in this parent component, and we are using it in the app page Salesforce target right now. So the same way you can use it in other targets as well. For example, you can use a Lightning Web component in a quick action in Salesforce. For that, you need to create a quick action panel basically. So we need the same component on the quick action, but a component can have only one target, right? As this component is having the Lightning app page target, you won't be able to use it as a quick action. For that, you need to have a specific quick action target, which is like screen action or headless action, right? So now what we should do, should we create another component? But that is not suggested as per the best practice, right? So the main benefit of using Lightning Web components are reusability of the components. So in Lightning Web components, you can make your components reusable. You can create a generic component that can be reused at multiple places. So for example, let's consider the first component, the child one, as a generic component. And now we'll create another parent component. Let's name it create task action. Okay. And now in this create task action, we will use our component there. So what you can do is you can simply add your component, create task here, save it. Now you need to change the parent components meta.xml file to make it available for the quick actions. For that, I'll make this parent component as true. And I'll add it as a target. So we need it on the record page because quick actions are available on the record pages as only, right? Now we will add a configuration, target configs, lightning record action, and as part of quick action you can create two kind of quick action. One is the screen action and another one is the headerless action. So whenever you need to display something on UI, you need to use the screen action, and when you have to trigger your JavaScript directly, you can use headless action. So for now we'll be using a screen action here, and we have created a Lightning Web component as a quick action now. Okay, so it is not deployed, it is having an error here. Wait a second. Okay, I think we missed something in the meta file. So here we have added record page and here it is record action, I believe. So here also we need to do record action as in target. I'll save it, push it again. Okay, sorry, my bad. Here we should be having 2 underscore instead of 1. This should get deployed now. Okay, here we missed to add C. Seems like I'm missing so many things. And trust me, this will happen with you as well when you will be building up an application. So it's fine. Now let me go to my org quickly. So I'll go to setup now to add it as a quick action. Now in my setup, I'll go to object manager. I'll go to account and button links and action, new action. Okay, now here as an action type, I'll be having lightning web component. My component is already here because this is the only component. As a label, create to do. Let's save it. Okay, it is saved now. Now what we can do is we can add it on the page layout simply. So we'll go to page layout, account layout, here it is, create to do, move it on the first place and save it. Now this will be available on the account layout as well. Okay, let me show it to you. We'll go to accounts. We don't have any account as this is a new scratch org. So I'll quickly create a new account. Okay, account has been created. This is my button, and on the click of this button, you'll be getting the same component with all the conditional rendering and the functionality like this. Now as a quick action, this component is still missing a header and a footer as well, which should be there as part of the quick action, and also we should be having a separate conditional rendering for this quick action, because as part of quick action we'll be always getting those save and cancel button and a header as well, so we don't need this button actually. So let me go to my VS Code again and create task action is here. I will add lightning quick action. In header I will add task manager. Okay, so this is the header. Now we will add footer as well. So to add footer I will add a slot footer, and here I'll be adding buttons. Lightning button, you can simply copy it from the developer library as well. Label cancel and on click. I will create a function for it. Let me copy it from here, paste it again, and let's create a save button as well. Okay, I'll push it again. It is deployed now. Now let me show you the output again. Okay, it is having header and footer as well. We need to add some margin here. So to add margin, you can simply go to Lightning Design System, search for margin. Here it is. Let's search for margin left. Location margin left. Here it is. and maybe we can add this one. I think this much margin should be enough. Copy it from here, go to VS Code again and add a class. Yep, the gap is fine. Now we need to maintain some conditional rendering if it is a quick action button, and if it is a quick action button we need to hide that save thing, and if it is not a quick action then we need to show that default save button, right? Before that, let me show you how you can add this same thing in another Salesforce target, which is utility bar. Okay, so to add it in utility bar you can simply go to App Manager. You need to go into setup first. App Manager. This is my application. I'll edit it. So to make your component to be available for the utility bar, you need to add another target. So wherever you need your component, you need to add a target for it, right? So I'll go here, and from this target, I will add another target, which is utility bar. Here it is, and deploy it. Okay, it is deployed now. Now here you can do add utility item. You can search for your component. Here it is. Okay. Panel width and panel height. Let it be default height. Save it. Go back. This is my application. I'll refresh it. And here you can see the same component on the utility bar as well, with the same functionality what we used to have on the page. But still, from here also we need to remove this save button, right? Okay. So now for that we need to pass some data from the parent to child to notify the child component that the component what we are viewing, if it is a quick action, a utility bar, or a normal component, right? Before that, you need to understand the lifecycle hooks of Salesforce Lightning Web Component so that you can easily pass the data between parent to child. Okay, so let me quickly show you lifecycle hooks. So this is the lifecycle hook of a Lightning Web Component, how the components are going to render. So first it will start with constructor, which will be called on parent. Then all the public properties will be rendered. Then your parent component will be inserted into DOM. So in our case, the parent component is going to be to-do manager and the quick action component. Then the connected callback will be called on parent. Then parent will be rendered and you will be able to call render callback. And then the same things will follow up for the child component as well. And at the end, the rendered callback will be called on parent. So here you are having multiple things. First, you are having constructor. So constructor fires when a component instance is created, basically kind of a page load. The connected callback is also pretty similar. It will fire when a component is inserted into DOM. So whenever you need to perform any activity, let's say wiring up some data on the load or maybe assigning some default value, you can do it in the connected callback. Another thing is disconnected callback. It will fire when a component is removed from the DOM element. Render callback fires when a component is rendered on the DOM element. So whenever the component will be rendered, this render callback will fire. And at the end, we are having error callback, and it will fire in case of any error during this lifecycle hook events. So you can have it as per your requirements. So these were the lifecycle hooks for the Lightning Web components. Okay. Now we need to pass data from the parent component to child component to uh, give them a kind of a notification that the data we are viewing is a parent component. Now to pass data from parent to child, you can use API parameters and API functions. Okay, let me show you how you can do that. So first we'll be passing data from the quick action components to the child component, which is the create task one, right? So this is my quick action component. So to pass data, what you can do is you can simply, while calling the component, you can have a parameter name. So parameter name will also follow the same thing. If you want to use camel case, you need to add hyphen. So I'll use a parameter called target parent. Okay, and here I will bind one value is action. Now what is this is action? So for that I will bind a parameter in JavaScript where I'll make its value true. So I'll be passing this is action from this component to the child one, and on the child component also you need to bind this parameter using API decorator. So for that, first you need to add the API decorator here, and now you can create the same parameter here with the API decorator, API target parent. Okay, now we need to check if the target parent is action. If it is true, then we need to perform some specific action, right? So that thing we need to do it on the load of the component. So as I showed you already, the lifecycle events. So from those events, we'll be using connected callback to perform any action on the load of the component. So here, by default, let me show you the value first. So we'll do console log target parent. This dot target parent. Okay, now let me deploy it. Okay, it is deployed now. Now if I will reload it and go to inspect, so when target parent is utility, it will show you true. When target parent is anything else, for example quick action, it will show you true. When target parent is normal, it will give you undefined. That is fine. So now we need to add this target parent condition also on the rendering thing, right? We need to hide the button. So for that we need to add a condition here. So if due date is not equals to null and this dot target parent not equals to true, only in that case this button should get visible, otherwise it should be false. Okay, so now the rendering is rendering will be working based on the parent component of its child. Okay, so this is also fine. Now on quick action we won't be able to see the save button, the component save button, but we'll be able to see the lightning web components save button, which will be calling the function in a child component, right? So another thing, I'll show you how you can call a function on a child component from the parent component. So in this child component, we'll be having a function to save the data for sure. So this is handle click. So here I will create that handle click. And in this handle click, we'll be using save functionality to save a task, right? this is a button, click on child. Now we need to call the handle click functionality from the parent component as well. So like we did for API property, we will be doing for API function as well. Now for that we need to make a function enabled with the API thing. Okay, so for that, for example, let's say if I'll create a function here, API enabled function, which is handle parent click, and here I'm calling my handle click. Okay, now from my parent component, which is this one, so from my parent component also I need to call that function which is in my child component. So for that, first we need to give a reference, a specific ID to this component. For that you can use LWC reference. As a reference I'll add create to do. Okay, I'll save it, and on the back end, on the click of the save, okay, we haven't created save function here, so let me quickly copy handle click. And another one was close action. Okay, so in this close action also we need to close that quick action button. So for that we need to import the close action screen event. So close action screen event from lightning actions. Okay, and we'll use it here as this dot dispatch event new close action event. Okay, now on the handle click, so this is basically parents component handle click. We will call the function which is in child component. So first we need to access the child component. To access it, we'll use the same reference parameter. So we'll do this dot references, the reference name which is create to do, and the function name. So function was handle parent click. So using this thing, we are calling child component function in this parent component now. Let me quickly deploy everything and show it to you. Okay, this is my org. Let me refresh it. So on the buttons click, we have added one log there. So this is my button. Now if I'll click on this button, you can see button click on child. Now we will go to this utility action. Okay, so here we won't be having that button. Instead of that, we'll be having this button. Okay, so you can see the button is not getting rendered, and this is a button on the parent component. Now when I'll click on this, it will trigger the same function again which is in the child component. You can see button clicks on child. So now we have called a function from parent to the child component. Okay, now another thing is we need to wire the apex. We need to save the record first using the save task button. Then we need to get list of records and display it as a list. So to make these server-side callouts, there are two things you can use. First is the wire apex methods, where you can wire the records on the load of the page. Okay, another one is the imperative method. So whenever you need to perform any action on buttons click, you will be using imperative apex. So as it is clear already with its name, we'll be using imperative apex here to save the action. Okay, but before that we need a custom object. So let's quickly create a custom object here. Okay, let's name it to do only. I'll save. Okay, I'll save it. It is saved now. Now we will add fields here. First I will add a text field. Title. I'll be just having default visibility, default permission, just for the sake of this demo. Another field will be date. Due date. Another field, let's create a pick list. We'll name it status. Pending completed. Use the first value as default. The pending can be our default value. Next, save. So the custom object is ready. Now I will quickly go back to my VS Code, and to make the server-side callouts, we'll be using Apex. So I'll quickly create a new Apex class. Create Apex, let's name it to-do controller, default location. Now we'll create Apex method, and Apex method should be Aura enabled. Okay, so first we'll create it for the save functionality. Okay, let's name it save to do, and from the JavaScript side we'll be passing here a string title and date, due date. These two parameters will be passing from JavaScript, and we'll just use the basic Apex save functionality here. We'll create the object to do dot title _c equals to title to do dot due date. Due date, we'll do insert, and let's return success. So this is a basic function what we have created here, right? Okay, I have saved it. Now we will go to the class again. So from this class we'll be calling that method imperatively, right? Now to call this method imperatively from this JavaScript file, first we need to import that method. So for that we'll go here. I will do import. Okay, save to do. Then this will be the path of the file, salesforce/apex, the controller name and the function name. Okay, so we have imported that function. Now we will save it, and we need to save it on the buttons click. So we'll go to handle click. Here it is. Now to call the method imperatively, you need to call the name of the imported method. So in my case it is save to do, and from here we will be passing two parameters as well. So the parameters will be title, this dot task title, comma, due date, this dot due date. Okay, now we will fetch the result. Okay, now we will check if result is coming as success. Then we'll make these fields blank. Task title equals to blank, and this dot due date also. Okay. So this is fine. Also, we need to add the error block here. So if it is error, then we'll do we can print the error in a console log, or better option would be to show a toast on success and error. So Lightning Web Component is also having a toast functionality, using which you can display a toast over the UI, a kind of a notification over the UI. So let me show you how you can show toast in Lightning Web Component. So for that you need to import show toast event from lightning / platform show toast event. Okay, after adding this, you need to call this event, and you can call it from so this is my success. If success, now if it is success, then let's display the toast. Now to call it, you can use the following format. So first you can create a constant of the event and initialize that object, show toast event. And here you can pass values like title, pass success, then you can pass message, in your to-do list. Then you can have variant as well, like error, success, warning, or info. So in this case we'll have success variant. Okay, and then you can dispatch this event, this dot dispatch event, and here you can do event. In the same way, I will quickly copy it and paste it on the catch block as well. Here we'll be using the error variant, title would be error, and message will display error dot body dot message. So whatever error message we'll be getting, we'll display it here. Okay, so we have created a toast event here. Now let me quickly deploy it and show it to you. Okay, it is deployed now. So let's add a task. For example, update Salesforce certification. Due date I'm adding 24th of August, and I'm clicking on save task. You can see the success message, a new item has been added in your to-do list. Now I can check it here as well. So we are not having any custom tabs for it, for the custom object what we have created. So let's create a custom tab first. So I'll go to tabs, custom object tabs. Okay, I'll select my object. As a style, I'll select any random style. And yeah, let's save it quickly. Okay, it is saved finally. Now if you will search for the custom tab, which is to do, here it is. And here you should be able to see the record that we have just created. Here it is. The default status is going to be pending for sure. Here it is. Okay. Now we will be creating a list underneath this component. We'll create two lists basically. First will be for pending task and another one is going to be for completed task. Okay. So for that we'll be using wire apex method to wire the records on the load of the component. Okay. So first we'll create a new component. So I'll quickly go to my VS Code. Create lightning web component. Let's name it to-do list. Okay. And we'll go to Apex also because we need to create a new method in Apex also to fetch the data, right? So where is my Apex? Here it is. Okay, so here I will do Aura enabled, and as this is going to be a wire method, so the purpose of using wire method is not only just to fetch the data on the load of the page, it is to improve the performance of a lightning web component as well, because wire will be storing the data as a cache memory. So whenever you're reloading the page, it won't be getting the latest data each time. Instead of that, it will be showing you the data from the cache until something is changed on the server side. Okay. So for that, while you're adding this Aura enabled, you need to do cacheable true here. And here we will be passing list of data. Get to-do list. And let's fetch it based on the status. Okay, so we'll pass string task status. We don't need this here. We'll simply return select id, title, due date from to do, where status equals to task status. And also let's add a order by clause, order by due date. Yep. That should be fine. Now we will go to the list component and we will wire the data. Now to wire the data also you need to first import it, and to import the data you need to use the same method, import get to-do list from the path. Okay, we'll store it in a local parameter. Okay, now we will wire it using below syntax. So to wire a function you can simply use wire, then function name, you need to pass the task status also. Now we need to pass the task status. So for example, let's have it in a parameter first. So for now, I'm just adding the default status. We'll make this also dynamic, okay? Task status. And as it is a wired function, so wired function will be accepting the reactive parameters. So for that, what you can do is, the syntax to add a reactive parameter is with a dollar symbol. So you can add dollar sign and task status here. Okay. Wire to-do list. Then we will wire the result. All right. And let's save this wired result in a specific parameter as well. The purpose of doing this thing, I'll tell you in a couple of minutes. Okay. Now, if it returns data, then this dot to-do list should be filled with data. And if it returns error, then we can again display the toast event. So for that, we can simply copy it from here. Show toast event here, and where it is, the error one. Yep. Okay, so here it should be result.error.body message. Okay, it's fine. So we have wired the records. Now we need to display it over the UI as well. So on the UI, we will display it as a list. Okay, so you can get the same list from the Lightning developer library. Okay, so to create a list, you can simply, so first we will check if this is having value. Okay, let's add a lightning card above it first. And we can add an icon as well. Let's add a standard task. Now, if this list is not empty, then let's add a div container first, just to add a border here. So we'll add a class SLDS medium padding. Okay, now we'll create a loop here of the data. So for that, you can simply do template for each of to-do list. And for each item, we'll use this parameter. Now here we'll be using the Lightning layout with the size attribute. So for that, you can simply go to developer library. You can search for Lightning layout and layout item. So here you can see Lightning layout item with different sizes, size attribute, here it is, where you can mention the size. So I need the size attribute because I need to show task title, date, and a button also to mark that task, right? So I can use this Lightning layout from here. Okay, you can simply copy and paste it from there as well. So Lightning layout, We need to add a key as it is a loop. So we will do to do dot id of the record. Okay. Then we'll add a class as well, just to add a custom box. So we can add this custom box class. So I think this is a custom CSS. Here it is. So let's add it from here. To-do list, new file. Custom box CSS we have added. Now we'll add it here as well. Before that, let me add some margin, SLDS. Vertical margin X small. And now I will add my custom box as well. I'll make it vertical align as well. Okay, multiple okay. Lightning layout is ready. Now we'll create lightning layout item. Lightning layout item. I will keep the size. So total size of the component is 12. So I'll keep the size is 11. And padding small. I kept it 11 because I need size for the button as well. Okay. Now in bold I will add task name, which is to do dot title _c, and I will add due date as well. Due date to do dot due date __ c. Okay. Now I will add another item, another layout item underneath it, which is going to be for size 1 only, because the total size can be 12. Now here I will be adding lightning button icon. So for that you can simply go on the library, you can search for icon, and you will be getting button icon from here, like this. So I can simply copy any icon from here and update it as per my requirement. Lightning button icon, let me change the icon, standard. So this is the icon which will give you a tick mark sign basically. Okay. Now on click of this icon we need to call the update function, which should update the status of the task from pending to complete. So for that we'll create handle click event later, and let's pass a record ID as well, because to update it we need a record ID. So as a record ID attribute we'll be passing to do dot ID. Okay, this looks good. To-do list. Okay, now let's make this to-do list available in the parent component. So we'll go to to-do manager again, and in that to-do manager we'll be adding to-do list. So to-do manager, here it is. Now here also, as previously it was just a single component, but now we are using multiple components. So we need to add lightning layout here as well. So we will quickly add it so that it can be in a proper layout in any device. Lightning rows with multiple rows. So lightning layout item for the first component, which is create task, let it be on full screen, padding around small. I'll add my first component there. Okay, and I need two separate lists here. So one is going to be for pending task and one is going to be for completed task. So for both of them, I'll be using the common component, the to-do list, what we have created right now. Let me show you how. So I will add lightning layout item, and this time I'll add size 6, padding same. Okay, I'll add one more for the other component. Okay, we have added it here. Now here I will call my list. So my component is C hyphen to-do list. Okay, and let's add a ID, reference ID, pending to do. Okay, and same I'll add here. Yep, same component I have added here as well. I'll change the ID to completed to do. Okay, now let's deploy it and see the output. Okay, we are having some errors as expected. Okay, we are getting error here. So we have used wire, but we have not added it here. So we need to add that wire decorator here as well. Let's see if there is any other error. No module markup name, C to-do list. Lightning layout. Now spelling again. Another quick learning. Try to copy most of the things. You don't have to type everything actually. So whatever you will be trying to build, that must be already on Google somewhere. So try to copy and paste and then try to understand the code. I think that would be the best option to do. Okay, so we are having list of pending tasks and pending tasks. Now we need to convert one list in completed task instead of pending task. Okay. So for that, what we can do is, as we are using the same component, so we need to make a couple of things dynamic. So we will go to parent component, which is to do manager. And from this parent component, we will pass the task status. So here we'll pass task status. So for the first one, I'll mark it pending, and this one task status equals to completed. Now for the completed task also we should not be showing this button. So we'll go to do list, and here we need to add API decorator again, and this task status we need to make it API enabled now. Now we'll be getting its value from the parent component. Okay, so this is dynamic already now. Now based on this task status we need to change the value. We need to first hide the button, right? And we need to change the title as well. So for that I'll show you another way of finding data dynamically. So first you saw the creating parameter there, and another way is using getter parameter. So using getter parameter you can easily bind values runtime. For example, let me create a getter for title. So I'll do get page title. So now this page title is a getter parameter, and here I can simply return this dot task status plus a text. And the same way we can do for button as well. Otherwise what you need to do is you need to create a connected callback or at least something to assign values, but this will be the getter parameter will be doing the trick this time. Getter show button, and here I will do return this dot task status. If it is pending, then show button true, else false. Okay, now I will go to my HTML, and here first I will change the title. So we'll make it dynamic, and I will add page title here. And for the button, let's add a condition. Template LWC if show button we'll paste it here, save, and let's deploy it. Now we have added the page title as dynamic, and this button also will be dynamic. So let me show you the output quickly. Now if you will refresh it, so you can see pending task here, completed task here, and this is not having any data because we haven't completed any task, and this is just having one task with a button over it. Okay, now let's try to add one more task. Okay, so certification preparation, let's add it on this date, and I'll save it. Now if you will notice, if I have saved it, it is not getting reflected in the list yet, right? Because this is a separate component and this is a separate component, and until you will reload the page, this wire is not going to call itself again, right? Now to solve this problem, we have something called refresh apex, which can be added with wired method to refresh it. Okay, let me show you how you can use refresh apex. So first we need to import refresh apex. So to import it, you can simply do import refresh apex from Salesforce Apex. Okay, now to use refresh Apex, you need this property now, wired to do list result, to refresh the returned result from the wire, right? And this refresh Apex, we are having it on this list, but we need to call it from a different component from the same parent, right? Now to call it from the same parent, first we need to So here, this is a child component. These two are also child component covered with a common parent component. So first we need to pass the request from child component to parent component, that it needs to call the refresh apex on both of the child components. Okay, and that request will be sending on buttons click. Okay, so first we won't be calling refresh apex right now. First we need to send a request, right? So let's go to create task component again, and from this create task we will send a request to parent that now you have to refresh other child components. Okay, so for that what you can do is you can simply bubble up an event from here. So after displaying success message, I am bubbling up an event. So there are two ways of calling a custom event from child to parent whenever you have to do the communication. For parent to child communication, you can use API function and properties, but for child to parent, you need to use custom event. Either you can bubble up an event, which will just send your parent a kind of a notification that something happened, now you have to take action, or you can pass parameters also. Okay, so here we will just bubble up an event. So we'll do this dot dispatch event, and here we'll do new custom event, and my event name is refresh to do. Okay, now you need to call this event on a child components on that parent component wherever you need to fetch this event. Okay, so this is this is a sender, basically this create task. It is sending this event to the parent. So we'll go to parent now. So this is my parent component. Now this parent component will be fetching that event, right? Now to fetch that event, you need to call it here, as this component is sending the event. Refresh to do, you just need to add on before the event name, and now you can call a specific action on this event. Okay, so I will do this refresh. I'll call a function called refresh to do here as well. Okay, I will copy it and I'll paste it here. Now when the parent is getting the request from another child component, now the parent will be refreshing both of its child component which are having list, right? So in those child component, first we need to create a function, and from parent we'll be calling it using using the child component reference. Okay, so now we'll go to the child component. So this is the child component, and in this child component we'll create a API function here. First we need to add, okay, API is already there. Now here we will add a function API refresh list. Okay, and in this refresh list, guys, you can simply use refresh apex, and here you need to add the wired property of from that result. So in our case it is this dot wired to do list result. Now it will refresh this thing. Okay, but still we need to call this function from that parent. Now we'll again go to the parent to do manager, and in this to do manager we'll call this function using the reference properties. So here we'll do this dot reference, so pending to do dot your function name refresh apex. Okay, for the next one as well, refresh to do completed. What I'm doing, wait a second, so this should be reference, I don't know, refresh apex here again. Whew, it should do the trick. Okay, I'll deploy everything again. Let's hope for no errors. Okay, no errors, awesome. So what we did here is whenever you will be clicking on the save button on the parent component, it will send a request. Whenever you'll be clicking save on this child component, which is create task, it will send a request to its parent, which is basically a global parent for all these three components. And from that global parents, we'll be calling refresh apex in these two components. So let's try it out. Let's create a new task. Trailhead learning. Let's add a due date, 18th of August, save it. So this is saved. Okay, we are having an error here. Button click on child, this is fine. This is some, I believe, syntax or some other, let me quickly check. So create task, from create task we are calling this event, this is fine. Refresh to do, then it will go to the parent where we are having this on refresh to do. This is also fine. Now from this refresh, this is also fine. Let me check if this is coming till here so that it would be easier to identify where is the error actually. Okay. And okay, I have just typed refresh apex here, and the method name is refresh list. Am I going crazy? See, save, push it to the org. Refresh it. I'll add another task. Super badge. I need to do many of them. Save task. Again the same error, script error without any detail. So I'll go here. So this refresh to do is working basically. Refresh to do, it is working till here. This dot reference dot pending to do, the component name. Pending to do, it is here. Okay, I think again the case sensitivity issue. I'll copy the name from here. Yep, case sensitivity, big issue in JavaScript. Now hopefully it should behave properly now. Okay, let me refresh it again. I am creating a to-do to update something on LinkedIn. Save. Okay, it is saved here. And LinkedIn updates, here it is, finally. So that's how you can use refresh apex also, guys, to use this thing. Now another task we are having here to call this update function. So for that, we need to go back to the apex first to create the apex function, update function, sorry. So this is my apex. Now here we'll create another function to update the record basically, right? And we'll be passing the ID from the Lightning Web component to update it. So I'll quickly create a function or enabled, let's name it update to do, and we'll be getting ID to do ID. This should be fine. And again we'll be using the basic apex to update it. Select ID status from to do, where ID equals to do ID. Yep, here it is. And we'll do to do dot status equals to, we'll mark it completed, update to do, and let's return success from here. Okay, so this update to do is saved now. Now we will be calling it from the list itself, right? So on that list we will be using handle click, the same thing. So I'll quickly go here, handle click I haven't created, so I need to do that. Handle click, I'll copy this time because whenever I'm typing I'm doing this typos and case sensitivity issue. Handle click, here it is. Now first we need to import that function, so I'll quickly do import update thanks to this autocomplete. All right, let's quickly move to the code. Or what we can do is, let's simply go to the create task, because there also we have used a similar thing, right? What is this? Create task action? No, not this one, this one. So this handle click, let's copy it from here and let's go to to-do list, paste it here. We'll do update to do ID, and ID will be getting from here. On the buttons click we are having data record ID, right? So we will pass it here using event dot target dot dataset dot record ID. So this is a syntax to basically get values from the dataset. Okay, now if it is success, I don't need this, and I'll update this message to task completed successfully. Okay, this is fine. Refresh to do. Okay, yeah, we need to refresh it, the list as well. So we'll keep this error, let it be same, let it be same. This is fine. Now this refresh to do, we are calling it from the child to the parent again, right? So now on the to do manager component, on this we need to update the format of the child as well. So I'll go to do manager, here it is, pending to do, and the other one. So we'll do on refresh to do, we will call the same function here as well. Copy and paste. Okay, here as well we'll do refresh to 2. So basically we have copied the same function. That means it will refresh both of the list whenever we'll be deleting it. Okay, now let me deploy it. Oh, it is deployed without any errors, surprisingly. I will refresh it. Okay, first let's try to add another title. So I'll do what should be in my to-do list. Maybe buy new shoes. Let's buy it by next month. I'll save it. So it is added. Buy new shoes are here. Okay, now let's try to complete the task. So when I click on this button, this task should be removed from this list and it should come up on the completed task. So I'll click on this as expected. I was wondering when the code gets deployed without any error. List has no rows for assignment to S object. Okay. So for that I'll go to this list first. Handle click. Data.record ID. I think this is fine. To do ID. Let's check the value again. To do ID value is fine. To do dot status. Yeah, I believe this is fine. So let me save it again. Let's go to the list component to debug it. So the best way to debug this thing is to add console log in between the code. Another thing you can do is using Chrome dev tools, using which you can just add debug. You can add debug in between the lines, and then you can execute the code line by line. Okay, but for this issue I'll just use the debug thing, the console logs. So with this list, let's see if we are getting value here first. Okay, cut it from here, paste it on line number 1, where it goes. Sorry, my bad. I'll paste it here, save it and deploy it. Okay, so this record ID is coming undefined basically. Oh, that's strange. Oh, again, case sensitivity. So this record ID, this I was small there. This will happen to you as well when you will be trying to do this code. So again, the same advice, make sure to do the copy paste. Okay, I'll close this. I'll click this one. You can see the success message and voila, our task has been moved from pending task to completed task here. Oh, I wish if I could complete my all pending task in my real life as well, just by click of a button. Awesome. So the functionality is working as expected, guys. Another thing we need to work on is this quick action panel actually. So whenever someone will be sending you the task from quick action panel, it should uh, close the pop-up as well. So that functionality is still missing, I believe. Create task action. So we are having close action here. We are having handle click here. Okay. So this is fine. Okay. So now whenever you're using a quick action, so I believe the quick action won't be closing. Let me quickly give it a try here. So if I'll go to this to do, any to do, let's say this one. Okay, sorry, why I'm in to do. I need to go to account actually. So when I'll go to account, click on new. No, don't. Let's not click on new. Let's open the account, create to do. It is showing the component. Let's say I'm adding a task by something, and I'll add the date. Now on the inspect, you will be able to see the task will be saved, but it won't be closing this pop-up. So you can see the task has been saved, but it is not closing the pop-up because the save button is sending request to the child component, right? But from the child component, the request is not coming back to this parent component actually to close this action. Okay, so for that, what we need to do is in our child component, which is create task basically. So in this create task, I need to add another condition, maybe here. Yeah, here we can add it. So while saving it, if this dot target parent is true, that means if it is coming from a quick action, so what we can do is we can bubble up an event, or let me show you how you can send a value this time. I showed you already how you can bubble up on line number 47. You can see that. Now let me show you how you can pass value. Selected event equals to new custom event. So syntax is pretty similar, and here you will just add the event name, which is close action, and now you can hit comma to add your parameters. Okay, so to add the parameters you need to add curly braces. Now you can add detail keyword here, and here you can add the value. So as in value, let me just send the result, which is going to be success here. Okay, now the same thing you need to do again. You need to dispatch the event. So you will do this dot dispatch event here, and let's do selected event. Okay, now on the manager one, the parent component, oh, not the manager one, the quick action, the action component, where it is task action. Yeah, so now on this task action component we need to call the action here. So the request will be coming from this component, right? So we'll do the name of that event was close action, so I'll do on close action. Okay, and here we can do this close action again. On close action, you should call this to close this button, to close the quick action. I will save it, deploy it quickly. Now I will go back, refresh it here. click on create to do, another task. Now I will go to here. I have added a date. Now on the click of save button, it should send a request to child, and child will send a request back to its parent that I have saved the record. Now you can close this quick action. So I'll click on save, and the quick action is gone now. So, and with that quick action, this project is also complete. I think we have added most of the things here. I hope I haven't missed anything. So this was a quick project on this Lightning Web Component, and I tried to cover most of the functionalities, guys. I hope now you are having confidence to work on these Lightning Web Components, and you are good to start your journey. But that is not end of this video. Another thing I would like to add here very quickly. So one thing I want to add here is this slide. So if you were really paying attention to this video, and if you really want to learn Lightning Web Components from this video, so there are some specific swags for you guys. I would like to share it with you as a giveaway. So to participate in that customized swags, you just need to complete the project, all the steps in your Scratch org, the same way like I have showed you in this video. You need to make this project running in your Scratch org, and you need to maybe record a small video of it and just send it to me, maybe over an email or something. So we'll do one thing, we'll create some kind of entry form or something for this swag alert, where you just need to try the same project, try the same steps in a Scratch org, and you need to make sure you're able to complete it as I showed you in this video. For more details, you can check the video description, where I'll be sharing more details about this customized swags. Okay, so I believe we are good with this video now. So that it is for today, guys. If you like this video, make sure to share it with your friends, with your colleagues, with your family, whoever wants to learn Lightning Web Component but don't have that much of time to invest on each topic, then this crash course is definitely going to be the lifesaver. And of course, if you want to learn each topic separately as well, I'm having those videos also in the same YouTube channel, so please do check it out. And yep, make sure to like, share and subscribe. So that it is for today, guys. Thanks for watching.